Good morning, family. You are watching The Main Ingredient. Thank you for your continued support and for tuning in once again to our weekly devotional. We're in the Redo series this month, focusing on redemption and reconciliation. My name is Erik Marshall, pastor of discipleship and deployment at Mosaic Midtown Church right in the heart of Detroit. And it's great to be able to share with you here this morning. Let's get right to it. The scripture: for the creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed. For the creation was subjected to frustration, not by its own choice, but by the will of the one who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself will be liberated from its bondage to decay and brought into the freedom and glory of the children of God. We know that the whole creation has been groaning as in the pains of childbirth right up to the present time. I once sat with a guy named Bill in the hospital as we waited for his wife having surgery as she was battling cancer. And in that small time of sitting with Bill, he asked me all the questions, like all the heavy questions that are really hard to answer in a small time when you're sitting at the hospital. Why is my wife suffering this way? Why am I going through all of this difficulty and pain? Why would God allow such a thing to happen? I don't know how I answered him, if I was helpful in that moment at all. I just tried to comfort him. I tried to let him know that I was there with him and that his church family was surrounding him. I don't know if I gave him all the right answers. But let me tell you, the way we understand suffering really matters. And that's what Paul's trying to explain to the Roman church in this piece of scripture. He's telling them about how the suffering, in the way that they understood their suffering, which was more of a superstition, where their suffering was a direct result of their sin or their behavior, was redefining it for them to understand their suffering in a new and hopeful way. Now, maybe we've gone through that same mentality before. That maybe we felt like we deserve the pain that we're going through, the suffering that we're facing because of some wrong choice that we made. That was the superstition of the day that Jesus was redefining and that Paul is picking up here for the Romans, in the letter to the Romans. Redefining in a more hopeful, that what is happening around them in all of creation it's going through labor pains, and that the suffering that they're facing is a direct result of that. Now, I don't know what it's like to have labor pains, thank the Lord. But let me tell you a story. When it was getting ready, my wife was getting ready to deliver our second child. We rushed to the hospital, and this labor went so fast. Her water broke on the way to the hospital. It was like a scene out of a movie. So we finally rushed her to the hospital. I let her out. She finds her way to a wheelchair. She gets wheeled away. I go park the car. I come in, and I go into the hospital, and I get lost. I'm trying to find my way to her, eventually get the directions. I get up to the right floor. I go into the maternity ward, and I sit with her, only to find out that in the midst of her pain, she was supposed to get an epidural to relieve her of her pain. But because of a small curvature in her spine, the epidural didn't work, and she had to do the delivery naturally. I have never heard someone in so much pain in my entire life. But now when we look at our daughter, who's almost 5, and we look at how precious she is and what a gift she is, I know that my wife would say that while she wished there was a different way to go about it, it was all worth it. And so when we look at our current suffering, let's keep that same hope in mind. You see, hope is looking at life through the reality of God's future. Hope is looking through the reality of God's future. Sometimes when we look at our own pain and suffering, it's all we can see. It's everything in front of our face. But God's reality is just around the corner. Let's be filled with hope, even in the midst of our difficulties. Take it from Paul and take it from God. There is hope, even in the midst of our suffering. So we'll see you next time. Be sure to check out the website, yourmainingredient.com. And also, we're excited to to announce that the main ingredient has merchandise, so you can go to the website, get your very own t-shirt or your own mug, and all the proceeds go to this important work that we do. And I'm hoping that you will partner with us as we continue to go out and preach to all people as Matthew 28 instructs us to. So as always, we do this for food, we do this for relationships, and we do it for Jesus.